Do you remember a show called Gilligan's Island? It was an American sitcom that aired in 1964, with 3 seasons and 99 episodes, 2 being in black and white and the latter in color, which started in 1965. Let me summarize what the show is about. There's a 2-man crew on the charter boat SS Minnow and 5 passengers on a 3-hour tour from Honolulu who run into a typhoon and are shipwrecked on an uncharted island somewhere in the Pacific. That's all the plot is. I did get that information from Wikipedia, and honestly, the show isn't bad to watch. But there's an episode of Gilligan's Island that has never been released by CBS Productions because of its disturbing nature. It wasn't violent. No, it was just disturbing to watch compared to the rest of the show. The episode was listed as the 100th episode of the series before the show was cancelled and added to the pit of forgotten shows, but this episode was not forgotten. I'm going to share some information about this episode, but promise me you won't laugh. The episode is called Gilligone Island. Like the name of the show, but, of course, the pun. It might have been a test episode, I really don't know. But now that we're done talking about the name, let's focus on the main plot. I will tell you this, since I actually have the full episode saved on my computer. The episode starts like any other, with Gilligan and the rest getting stranded on an island. But this one, which has never been seen in the show before, looks abandoned and forgotten. And the episode starts right away with Gilligan and the skipper being the only people on the island. They start exploring, and it isn't long before they saw a bunch of spiders and bones on the ground. The exploration continues, and Gilligan finds the corpse of a man, presumably someone who died. Skipper and Gilligan were starving, so they grabbed a knife and plunged it into one of the bodies. He gives half of the organs to Skipper, and he eats the rest. I mean, it sounds weird, I know, but I suppose in this case, it's necessary for survival. I was figuring out how they could leave the island until the camera pans to the boat being damaged. Keep in mind that I haven't watched many other episodes of this show. I watched it with my parents on a few occasions, but I'm currently researching this show as I am typing this, and I just found this episode. To my belief, this show is indeed family-friendly, so my guess is that they wouldn't be showing cannibalism. Gilligan continued eating the organs with the skipper, and Gilligan puts his clothes on the skeleton because his outfit got dirty from the bloody feast. He's naked, uncensored, and dirty and bloody. I am wondering if this episode might have been targeted for an older audience, unlike the rest of the show. And this is where the main part of the episode comes in. Gilligan and the skipper start to fix the boat to get back to the island. They're looking for parts and don't find any. Gilligan breaks the shed down and uses the shed parts to make the boat. Gilligan then passes out due to dehydration. He is not dead, and the skipper notices and gives him water. Gilligan drinks it, but he's also hungry. He apologizes to the skipper as he picks up a rock and starts beating his hand, causing blood to come out. He groans in pain, and Gilligan puts a bandage on his hand. He eats the bloody pieces from it. The next scene shows them starting to build a campfire to get warm. Gilligan and the skipper were lying near the fire. The skipper starts yelling and starts punching Gilligan suddenly. He bit a piece of his arm off and screamed in agony. After this scene ends, Gilligan puts his clothes back on because he kept complaining about things going into his groin in the scene. He then starts fixing the boat again, and it's at this point that they finally got off the island. The episode cuts to black with the credits, and I was thankful that this ended more happily at least. At least more of a resolution anyway, but I still don't know what to think about the rest of this episode. Why would CBS make this in the first place? I googled this episode on IMDb and found nothing except Gilligan, the goddess from 1967, being in the last part of Season 3, not Season 4. I used the Wayback Machine, and I found something. There was no rating, and the genre of comedy and family was like the rest of the episodes. But here's what the description read. Gilligan and the skipper got stuck on an island, and they need to take what was there to survive. Will they die, or make trouble for one another? There were no photos, and of course the top two actors, Gilligan, played by Bob Denver, and the skipper, played by Alan Hale Jr., had nothing unusual about them. Everything else was the same. Unusual, but the same. I noticed that the reviews were not very good. The Gilligone Island set was burned to the ground in real life. Yes, it was a real place.